Why don't you start with your hot read, talk about your pick a little bit, and then I will go through a few stats on the matchup.
So I'm on Chiefs -1.5, and I knew right away once I started digging into this, okay, I didn't even know I'd get here, but I guess I'm on the Chiefs here because this is going to sound crazy, but my numbers, my models make this something more like Chiefs -3.5, even as high as 4.5 or 5 points. I have the Bills a clear tier below what I thought was a top 4 in the NFL, and we've been treating it like the Bills are in that top tier. But my model and my numbers have not treated it that way. Like the DVOA models, a lot of models out there have not felt like the Bills were really in that top tier of teams. So I look kind of go down the roster here. I know that the Chiefs' offensive line has not been great this season. The interior great, the tackle's not great. I know their receivers have not been great this season. It's problematic that I still like their receivers better than Buffalo's, and I still like their blocking better than Buffalo's because I like the Chiefs' defense better than Buffalo's, for sure. I like their coaching better than Buffalo. I really like their special teams. That's a huge advantage for Kansas City in this one. And I still like the quarterback better. It's close, but I still like Pat rather than Josh. So, what do I like better for Buffalo? They can run the ball better. For sure, that's an advantage here. But is that enough? I don't think it's enough because if running the ball is not enough to make up for all those other advantages there, then all that's left is kind of the case I had for Buffalo today, which was Josh Allen outplaying Patrick Mahomes. And Josh Allen can do that, but I don't know that I want to bet on that happening on the road in a spot where we've seen him go head-to-head with Mahomes, but not be able to do it. To me, Buffalo's defense is the main reason for the pick here. I think these defenses are moving in opposite directions right now. Chiefs defense had a dip in the middle of the season, but that stretch before the Week 18 nothing game, they were top 5 again. A little worse against the run. I do think Buffalo can run, but the Bills have faded. They're kind of more toward back of the top 10 down the stretch. And I didn't think that they were very good even today against the Ravens. They got the turnovers, but you allowed 25 points to the Ravens in a bad weather game, even turning it over 3 times. That's not a great performance. Bills have faced a top 12 offense. They allowed 29.3 points a game in those games this season. So that's not a great number. Now the Chiefs, by DVOA, still qualify as a top 12 offense. It's not great to have to tell you that part. That kind of tells us what we think about them this season, but I like the matchup for Kansas City. They prefer to run up the middle. We talked about that with Buffalo, where they're better defending outside on the run. They're less good inside. We saw Baltimore get the ball moving up the middle. I think the Chiefs can get a little bit of running more than they usually do. And mostly, what have we said about Buffalo? Both games I've been betting running backs to do well against Buffalo. Why? Because they don't defend short passes well and they don't defend the middle of the field well. That is where Patrick Mahomes lives now. It sucks. I don't want him to live there. I want him to live down the field. He had the number 2 most short passes in the league. This is Xavier Worthy season and Travis Kelce season. So DraftKings already has lines up. I got a couple props for you already because I think both these lines go up. Xavier Worthy over 4.5 catches, -135. Quick slip for both of these will be in the link for you there. So these are bonus prop hot reads. Our first prop hot reads ever, I think. Travis Kelce, I'm going receiving yards on him, over 65.5. I think that one's already going up as well. He's had 71 yards or more in 14 straight playoff games now. So that line is rising. We're probably not going to get another 49-yarder in there, but I think this is a game where the Chiefs run the ball, quote unquote, by getting it to Worthy and to Kelce and playing the underneath game and just controlling the clock that way. Especially, I think Buffalo, that last drive against Baltimore today, Taron Johnson went out. That's a big injury for them. I think that one looms large injury-wise for Buffalo as well. So I like Kansas City here. Conference championship matchup. When you're the 1 seed, last couple decades, 20-5 straight up as the favorite. 8-0 straight up with at least 11% better win rate. That's the Chiefs here. They're 15-2 versus 13-4 for Buffalo. 8-0 straight up, winning by 16.5 points a game. I'm not predicting that. I don't think you'll catch me on a Chiefs escalator at 16.5 on this one, but I think under 3, I have to feel good about the Chiefs at home with Mahomes, and I think with the better roster around, because I think Buffalo's roster has not been great. It's a similar bet to the bet I just lost betting on Baltimore, but I think that the numbers we saw from Baltimore was that they were the better team, the better roster. They just made some mistakes. I don't think the Chiefs are going to make those mistakes. So the Bills are going to have to actually beat them their own way without finding the mistakes that way. And the Chiefs don't do that. So Chiefs -1.5. That's the official hot read pick. Now I will say this: you can play that one in the play that one on the quick slip. The link is there for you. I don't know if you need to rush to play this one like a traditional hot read. I don't think we're getting to a -3 here because Buffalo's going to get way too much action that way. It wouldn't stun me to see this move towards Buffalo a little bit. It wouldn't shock me if we might even get like near an even odds money line in that direction. Kansas City is -120 right now. I don't think you need to run to bet the Chiefs right now. We're not going to certainly get past the 3, but I could tell at the end of the day, Chiefs is the side I'm going to be on in this one. And here we are again, after all my poo-pooing them all season long, picking the Chiefs on the hot read to get back to the Super Bowl. I guess that's Patrick Mahomes for you.
I mean, when I was looking at the data, I tried to look at the previous matchups, KC, Buffalo. It is worth noting. So Buffalo obviously beats Kansas City previous meeting. I haven't looked this up yet. I assume Patrick Mahomes pretty decent on revenge spots. It is pretty fun that week 11, we had Washington, Philly, and Buffalo, Kansas City both in the same week. And now that is the conference championship. I thought that was kind of fun. I will also say this from the week 11 game, Buffalo, Kansas City, Khalil Shakir, 12 targets, 70 yards, 8 receptions. I think he will be important in this game. If we like Kansas City, you like Buffalo trailing, I think he is a good target to try to help Buffalo get upfield in the middle of the field as well. The other one is this. I looked at Mahomes' last 5 games versus Buffalo, all since the 2022 playoffs, 5 games. He has set 6 passing touchdowns and no picks in those games in a clean pocket. Under pressure, 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
Ooh.
When he is in play action or in a screen during those 5 games, 4 touchdowns, no picks. What this tells me is this. If they don't get to him and let him do exactly what he wants to do, whether that's a clean pocket, play action, or screens, basically 10 touchdowns and no picks. I mean, you're going to be in a lot of trouble if KC gets to do their game plan. If you get in the middle of that game plan and you do a little bit of what he did to Lamar today, Mahomes has 5 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. You're going to figure out a way because their offense has lots of weapons, but they're not explosive. And it's a little weird thing to say because, like you said, it's not truly dink and dunk, but it's not like they're going 20 yards downfield. So if you get into that pocket and make him kind of hop around a little bit, I think you're going to find success. So that's my angle on this one. 2 trends, home unders for Mahomes, 42, 27, and 1, 61%, 48.5, decently high, but kind of in the middle there. And then you mentioned Kelsey. Here's what he's done at home against Buffalo. 6 receptions, 83 yards, 8 for 108, 8 for 96, 6 for 57, 13 of 118. So I just feel like in this game, doesn't matter the game script, whether it's positive or negative, he's going to be a part of it. It's the reason I kind of like Noah Gray as well. I looked on DraftKings. I didn't see Gray available, but I do think if it's 1.5 receptions, if it's like 10, 11, 12 yards, like he was getting looks in this game as well because Mahomes is living in the middle of the field. So I do feel like there is an opportunity there. So that is my analysis on this one. I don't know if you have anything else, but
I had a similar one too. I was looking immediately, of course, looked for a running back I could lose money on betting against running back reception yards. No Justice Hill, no Javonte Williams. It's not working out for me. But if I can get a Samaje Perine over 1/2 of a catch, like I was like, okay, who is it? Is it Pacheco or is it Hunt? It turns out it's neither. Neither one of them catches passes, but Samaje still seems how to get on the field a little bit and catch a pass every now and then. So I might have an eye on that one. Just off the top of my head, because we know this matchup so well, I was just thinking about, okay, what else will I be checking in this game? So things that I may come back to when we get to our best bets. I love to bet both teams to score in the 4th quarter in this matchup. That's something that has come often just because we know we get the fireworks late. We often see kind of a slow build up and then fireworks at the end of the game. So keep an eye on that one. I love to bet both Mahomes and Josh Allen rushing overs in this matchup just because this is it, man. You empty the cannon. This is what the whole thing is for. So we see them really see them run a lot. And usually in this matchup, both of those rushing lines open and then immediately start to move up. And if you're talking like 22 versus 29 on a line, that's a huge difference. So definitely keep an eye on both of those. The other thing, too, just thinking big picture, I find it hard to believe with Jalen Hurts injured, especially, that I'm not going to feel good about whoever wins this game being a relatively clear favorite in the Super Bowl. So I think if you feel like you have a side here, maybe with the money line looking so even, you don't play the money line. Maybe you invest in a Super Bowl ticket and you get out ahead and say, okay, if I'm right about my pick here, now I have a ticket in the Super Bowl where I have much better odds and I've got some options to go from there. So I think future is big picture. That might be the way to play either the Chiefs or the Bills. Whoever goes out ahead, you're going to have Allen or Mahomes in the Super Bowl. And I think you're going to feel pretty good about having one of those guys and getting the AFC ticket that way too. So I think those are other angles to keep paying attention to. And we'll see which of them pop up in the best bets when we come back later in the week.
Sorry, I'm going to read this off my phone, but I feel like the rushing yard props that are already up for this game are kind of fascinating since the lead back, I would say, of the two teams is James Cook,
Sure.
which is 56.5 rushing yards. But like Allen's 47.5, Kareem Hunt 35.5, Pacheco 34.5, Mahomes 26.5. They're all kind of in that, like, we don't exactly know who's going to get the ball or for how many carries, but we'll let you guess. I know a lot of people liked Pacheco in this game today, and he did, or yesterday, and he did virtually nothing in the game.
Yeah.
He now opens at 34.5, and you say to yourself, 34.5. Like, if Casey has the lead, like, how many other options do they have? That one just feels so low to me if you like Kansas City. But distribution of carries, I think, is something that is a little bit difficult with Hunt, especially. They kind of like his battering ram style that I feel like they don't exactly have right now with Pacheco, which I think I just have to look into that more. But kind of fascinating. They both basically have the same number on the prop right now.